tú eres muy malo, roto el pato de vestuario. La interpretación siempre negativa, nunca positiva.
They've done it again, another comeback, another Clasico victory, and Barcelona have one hand on the La Liga title. Welcome to Siempre Positivo on Monday the 12th of May after Barcelona's 4-3 victory against Real Madrid at the Olympic Stadium on Sunday. I'm Sam Marsden, joined by Rik Sharma and Tony Juan Marti. Rik, what's up?
Not much. Nice Monday, nice day. Bit of work, but nothing urgent. Just little title package work for Barca because they've won La Liga more or less. So getting that ready for Wednesday or Thursday, depending on how things unroll this week.
Tony, the Prophet, March the 16th, your pinned tweet. In my opinion, Hansi Flick's Barcelona have today become the champions of La Liga 2024-25.
Yes, good morning. Well,
it all came down to that win away at Las Palmas, didn't it? You knew.
No, it was not against Las Palmas. It was against Atletico, but yes.
Right. On the pod, you'd said after that Las Palmas game, you'd gone even earlier on the pod than on Twitter.
Not after the Las Palmas game. Before the Las Palmas game, Tony said, "Whoever wins this weekend, whoever's top of the league this weekend, will be winner of La Liga." And Barca beat Las Palmas, and they were top of La Liga.
No, but to be honest, in the same way that sometimes I remember things that we say. When Barca had that bad run in November, I thought that it was going to be very complicated, but mainly because I think no one expected. Of course, you have to give lots of credits to Hansi Flick. We have to talk about this. But I think no one could expect the incredible drop, the incredible fall of Real Madrid. No, but it makes sense for Barca to win La Liga. It's coherent. It's the team who plays better with higher intensity. It's a style also, as we discussed in the last pod regarding what happened with Inter, is the style which, in the long term, makes you the best team because you have margin of failing, no? Because at the end, 38 games with this quality playing to all or nothing, it makes that at the end you will end up winning, no? Because you have lots of games, and when you are able to compete with this intensity, with this being that hungry, Barca has been the best team. It's different what you can expect in Champions League because it's not that long competition. If the Champions League would have been also a league, Barcelona would have won also the Champions League. But Champions League is different, and you need this experience or how to compete, how to adapt to some moments that you didn't do. But with the style of Hansi Flick, La Liga is the perfect competition because on the long term, no one gets the points that Barca gets in terms of attacking, being consistent, managing the minutes of some players. You don't have to forget that several times this season, Hansi Flick has protected some players' rotations in the bench. Totally deserved. Amazing season, the one Hansi Flick has done. And apart from this, we can analyze now more deeply just the game, just the Clasico, and what happened yesterday. But for me, just to make a big highlight at first, what Hansi Flick has brought to Barca, the best thing is not only the football, nothing related with football. The best thing that he has brought to Barca, and probably he won't enjoy it because in the short term he will leave. I don't expect him to be there maximum 2 seasons more. Maximum is the change of mentality. Again, a new comeback after losing 2-0 after 25 minutes. It's amazing. I'm so impressed. This is the biggest achievement of this Barca. Not getting nervous after getting knocked. Just, okay, I will wake up and I will go again. And they will do it again and again and again. It's the strongest Barca in terms of mentality that I have seen in the last 20, 15 years. Even stronger than the Barca of Pep in terms of mentally.
Yeah, it's absolutely crazy. Like you say, the comebacks. Another comeback from 2 goals down against Real Madrid. The 7th time they've come from 2 goals down this season to level a game. They've not always won those games, of course. The Inter game they ended up losing, but yeah, ridiculous levels of comebacks that they keep going. I mean, I don't know what's more ridiculous, that they keep going down 2-0, especially at home to Atletico Madrid, to Inter, to Real Madrid, or that they keep coming back, probably the latter. And also, just one other thing you touched on before we get into the Clasico there, something perhaps for the end of season pod, is just that Barcelona have been by far and away throughout the course of the season the best team in Spain, and it just makes that little run in November and December seem even more like an anomaly and a little bit more weird. But that's perhaps something to look into at another point, as we just sort of, like you say, cast our mind back to another crazy game at the end of a crazy month. As I've said, the Copa del Rey final, the Celta Vigo comeback, the Inter Milan Champions League semi-final tie, and now this, a fourth successive Clasico win for Barcelona this season, and a victory which needs them leaving just 2 points from their last 3 games to clinch the La Liga title and seal a domestic treble. Once again, they did it the hard way. 2 Kylian Mbappe goals inside 15 minutes saw them trailing 2-0 at the Olympic Stadium again. But as Tony says, this team knows how to come back. Incredible mentality. And as Lamine Yamal said after the Copa del Rey final 2 weeks ago, Madrid cannot handle this Barcelona team this season. And that was once again the case for half an hour in the first half after they went 2-0 up. Eric Garcia once again starting the comeback as he did in Milan, before a wonder goal from Lamine and 2 more from Rafinha gave Barca a 4-2 lead at the end of a crazy half. Mbappe did pull one back for Madrid in the second half, completing his hat-trick, and there was still time for missed chances, offside goals from both teams, penalties not given, goals ruled out, all sorts of stuff going on before and after that Mbappe goal. But Barca hung on to win 4-3. Denied a beautiful moment at the end when Fermin Lopez scored a really, really good goal, because he'd handled it in the build-up, which we still got the celebration scenes as the players peeled away. That's the one thing I always say about the running track, is it gives quite good sort of images when the players sort of peel off over the pitch onto the running track and run towards the fans. It's quite nice. Other than that, it's a bit of an eyesore, but yeah, that was a nice moment, even though the goal was ultimately ruled out. And yeah, Barca winning 4-3. They now need just 2 points from their final 3 games, or they might not even need that many, because Madrid may switch off now. They may drop points against Mallorca on Wednesday, which would give Barca the title. If Madrid do win on Wednesday, Barca, for the second time in 3 seasons, can win the league away at city rivals Espanyol, who they play on Thursday at 9:30. Rick, I mean, so many things to talk about once again, so much analysis necessary, but your thoughts on Barcelona 4, Real Madrid 3?
I mean, we have to go with the comeback angle that you guys have been talking about already, because that at 2-0 down, after what happened on Tuesday against Inter Milan, and the fact that Barca started this game fairly sluggishly in the first 10-15 minutes, it's probably been the biggest moment for the team to crumble this season. Like, the team has never been more primed to crumble than after Mbappe scores his second in this Clasico. And they just bounce straight back. Again, I think the speed they get the first goal back, I think it was 19 minutes, Eric Garcia. So 5 minutes after Mbappe scored his second goal is key to the comeback. To just immediately pull that goal back and say, this isn't going to happen. And like Lamine has said, Madrid just couldn't handle Barca. Barca, as soon as they got that first goal back, just wiped the floor with Madrid. And honestly, this could have been more than 4-3. A bit like the Copa del Rey final. I don't think the final score does justice to the game as a whole. Barca were significantly better than Madrid. They made the same mistakes, to be fair, in the second half, leading Hansi Flick to say in his press conference after the game, yes, okay, next season we'll learn to defend better, which made me laugh, because that's obviously a factor. The fact that they gave Madrid 2 absolutely massive chances in the final 5-6 minutes before Fermin's disallowed goal to level the game, with Victor Munoz, some kid I've never heard of before in my life, just blazing a great one-on-one over and wide of the bar as he went through on goal. And then Mbappe actually spurning a really good chance. Very good defending by Christensen to not keep up with Mbappe, because obviously Mbappe is so fast, but to keep up with him enough to make him take such an early shot. Because if he'd been able to take another step forward with the ball and come into the box, I think that would have been a goal for Madrid, and it would have been 4-4. But Christensen did well off the bench, actually. Great comeback by Barca and an amazing league season.
Victor Munoz was part of Barca's academy for 3 or 4 years, maybe. Then he joined DAM, and then he went to Real Madrid. I think he said...
You find this out between last night and this morning?
No, I found this out years ago.
Years ago?
And I think he said to deactivate notifications or deactivate his comments on his social media posts after missing that chance. Like you said, though, I mean, Barca put themselves in a position that we saw when they drew 4-4 against Atletico, when having come from 2-0 behind to lead 4-2 and then drawing 4-all. That we saw against Inter when they went 3-2 up and then conceded a late equaliser, where they were still conceding chances with the way they were playing to Real Madrid. But like you say, they could have scored a lot more goals before then. I think back to the Rafinha chances, which were set up by Rafinha, etc. You know, the penalty shout, which I'm sure will come on to the referee. But yeah, it was just a classic case of a Barca game this season, and it feels like, I don't know, we've been repeatedly told, wait until, and I guess we've, not in the second half of the season, I don't think, probably in the first half of the season a little bit, let's wait and see how this all pans out when teams find them out on their style of play, etc. And it's not really happened. Even Inter, it took extra time, and yeah, perhaps Barca should have seen that game out. But we're talking about a team that's going to win a domestic treble, that's beaten Real Madrid 4 times in a row, the first time that's ever happened in the Clasico in a single season, and is, La Liga champions once again, pending the final details. I think it's been a remarkable season, and the rest can probably wait for the summer in terms of the things they obviously need to fix in terms of controlling games when they are ahead. Tony, what was your analysis of the Clasico? Did you enjoy it?
Well, to be honest, I don't know if the word is enjoying, because Madrid was so poor. I expected a different Madrid, to be honest. I'm very surprised with what I saw. Madrid, they got the jackpot after, without even doing nothing, but then, no heart, no attitude, no plan, nothing, absolutely nothing. So, again, I don't want to drop credit to Barca, but I feel that we will never know if Barca is on his best version or was on his best version, because never in the history, or at least from what I remember, not even when Mourinho was there, because at least they were defending very aggressive with Pepe, with Ramos, with Di Maria. It was like playing against Elche or Levante. The way that you could see the face of Barca player, so relaxed, doing some things like, I don't know, disappointing Real Madrid. Apart from this, just to be focused on Barca's game, I think that it was all regarding the attitude. Because if you analyze just in terms of football, there were some mistakes, the mistake of Chesney, the mistake of Cubarsí, couple of mistakes, the mistake of Íñigo. But when there is this big gap, the gap is that big in terms of intensity, in terms of willingness, in terms of desire, football is not important. Football is important to make the difference when two teams go with the same intensity. Then the one who makes less mistakes or has bigger quality will end up winning. But when the difference is that big, football is not important, because Barca would have also won with Ansu and Pau Victor yesterday. So, no history. I'm happy also that the storytelling for this Barca has been like this. First losing the Champions and then winning La Liga, because on the other way, it would have seemed not that big explosion of illusion. But right now, as Lamin said, what happened in Champions is already forgotten. And you can be ready for the big party when it's official that you win La Liga. But apart from this, it was more or less confirmed, the dynamic of the last games. Eric being amazing, not even suffering at his back, and even if every single coach can know that you have to put balls on his back, Madrid didn't try to do it so much. Rafinha with the same. Not being that with that key role during the game. He's not that good in the last 2 months of competition, but he has managed to keep his numbers, and at the end that's important, no? Pedri and Frankie consistent, not shining, but consistent. And Lamin, no, with this new step that he has done in the last months, which becomes him favorite also, or candidate to win the Ballon d'Or. So, to sum up, nothing unexpected in terms of Barca, nothing unexpected, just Madrid who didn't feel strong enough to compete. No history on this Clasico.
Rick, were you surprised about Madrid? I read after they went 2-0 up. I can't remember the exact minutes. I noted it down somewhere, but I just can't find it now. Apparently, for 30 minutes or between 25 and 30 minutes, they didn't touch a ball in the Barca half.
Not surprised, no. I mean, Madrid this season, like last season, Madrid, they lost 2 games across the whole season. They won La Liga Champions League. This season, Madrid have lost, I think this was their 14th defeat across all competitions. This is a Madrid that will give them the caveat of having a bunch of defenders out injured. So no Carvajal all season, having to play with Lucas Vazquez there or Fede Valverde. Obviously, the left-back situation, Mendy out and playing with Fran Garcia there and so on. And Militao and Rudiger now. But this Madrid are very, very fragile. Ancelotti has known what the problem is since more or less the first day of the season. He's been saying, oh, this team with 4 strikers doesn't have any balance. And of course, they didn't use 4 strikers yesterday, but they have for a lot of the season, even though he's known that's not going to work. And maybe because there's pressure above him to do it, to try using them all. And he's seen it's not gone wrong. And now he knows he's leaving. He's changed a little bit and he's playing with just 2 forwards or maybe 3 if you count Bellingham in behind. But Madrid are just super, super fragile. And behind Mbappe, there's not a lot there. So I think that Xabi Alonso has his work cut out for him when he comes in next season. I think he's obviously a more tactical coach than Ancelotti, and he's going to have a lot of ideas about what to do. And let's see if Madrid, I imagine there'll be a stronger force next season. Now this season's in the bank, and now they know they can't just roll out Vinicius, Mbappe, Bellingham and Rodrigo in the same team. From the start, I think they'll be stronger next season. Whether they'll be strong enough to overhaul Barca is a different question, because Flick's Barca have been brilliant, and if they do learn to defend better and shut games down when they need to, then they'll be unstoppable.
Tony, what do you think of Real Madrid? Obviously, that will be last Clasico for Carlo Ancelotti. Do you think they'll improve with Xabi Alonso? Looks like they play a 3-4-3 formation. They're probably going to need a few signings in addition to Trent Alexander-Arnold to make that work.
Well, it's not... I mean, yes, I think Madrid will improve, but not because it's Xabi Alonso the one who is coming. Because nowadays, I think that human relations are difficult to manage in the long term. That's why, for me, in my opinion, what Simeone has achieved, even if some people still criticize him, is the biggest thing that I have seen in football in the last years. Because being able to keep the respect of your players and make them to fight and die for your idea, for your speech for almost 17 years, it's simply unbelievable. That's why for me it's something unique what I have seen. Normally it happened with Guardiola, it happened with Bielsa, it happened with Klopp, with Tuchel. Normally more than 3-4 years it's enough, because the intensity, the day-to-day makes a lot of troubles and it's not easy to manage. So at the end it's normal that the era of Ancelotti comes to an end. So for sure Madrid will be better, but not because it's Ancelotti's fault. It's because humans need some change, and in football even more. So new energy, fresh air. I'm sure that Madrid will improve. But what makes me happier the most, the same that happened to Barca when Ronaldinho, Eto'o, Henry and Messi played together in 2007. The same what happened in Paris Saint-Germain with Mbappé, Neymar and Messi, and the same that happened with Madrid this season, is that in football, almost never the team who wins is the team with better individualities, but the one who acts more as a team. And I'm really happy with this, because otherwise football wouldn't be that magic. I'm so happy, and to be honest, I said to a colleague of mine that I felt that the arrival of Mbappé would create this, and it has been confirmed. I'm happy that, for example, without Mbappé, Luis Enrique playing as a team has reached the final of Champions League, and it's true that Lamine has done an important step, but the Barca has been playing as a team, PSG has been playing as a team, Madrid, when they won Champions League, they were still playing as a team with this 4-4-2. When a team becomes just different names instead of a collective, instead of a group, you are dead. And I'm happy that it has been proved again. With Madrid, with Xabi Alonso, the team will be again, I think, a group, but it will mean probably that Rodrigo or Guller or whoever will have to be on the bench. So hard decisions also to take for Xabi Alonso.
Yeah, big summer coming up for Madrid. Let's talk a little bit just about the refereeing decisions again. Here we go again. I was watching. I've got I've got myself to blame for this, but I watched a little bit of Chiringuito when I got in last night, and they were going through the refereeing decisions. They singled out 9 refereeing decisions, and they decided that 8 the referee got correct, and 1 the referee got wrong. Do you know which one they think the referee got wrong?
This is a trick question, isn't it? Because I think it should be the handball by Tchouaméni should be a handball, but I'm guessing they haven't said that.
No, they haven't said that, no. The only one they thought the referee and the VAR got wrong was Frenkie de Jong's handball in the build-up to Lamine Yamal's equaliser. I think it was Jordi Jota, the Barca guy who was on, was absolutely losing his marbles watching this analysis, watching them all sort of make these decisions and call these things. They singled out 9. I've written down a few which were debatable calls. You've got the Tchouaméni potential red card when Ferran Torres is running through. For me, that was a red card. I know Rick doesn't necessarily agree. There was
for me, no. I think the ref got that right. I think he was running away from goal, and I think there's enough there not to. I don't think it's going to be a clear goal scoring chance.
I think the ball is coming across him, and he's angling his run. His run does go out away from goal at first, but the ball then comes across him, and he's angling back in towards goal, and there's no covering defender. I think that could easily be a red card for me. The other one was the potential foul on Lamine Yamal before Real Madrid's second goal from, I think it was Valverde, who sort of steps on his foot. I mean, I think that's probably a foul, but I don't think it's one for VAR to overrule for a goal.
Yeah, agree.
Just one question. If it was the opposite, if it was Barca scoring that goal, you imagine in your head that the goal can be disallowed? Because I think internally we are accepting that it's not 50-50 anymore, these decisions. Because
Possibly.
You imagine in your head that VAR will take 6 minutes until they find that there is a contact and the goal with Barca would have been disallowed. I'm quite sure about this. And I totally agree with you, Sam. For me, it's goal. You shouldn't disallow the goal. But try to do this exercise in putting on the other side. It's a mess.
The other one of the 3 handballs, which they're repeating. There's one where it hits Frenkie really high up his arm before Lamine's goal. There's the Tchouaméni one from Ferran Torres shooting, which could have been a penalty. And there's the Fermin Lopez one, which leads to his goal being disallowed in stoppage time, which would have made it 5-3. How did they get those decisions right? The decision was no handball Frenkie, no handball Tchouaméni, handball Fermin.
Yeah, the issue with these refereeing decisions for me is not all the ones you mentioned until then, because all the first ones, while you can see what Lamine's complaining about, you can see, okay, maybe it could have been a foul. I think they're not big calls either way. What I think was completely wrong were the last 2 decisions, which was Tchouaméni was the most obvious handball of a shot going towards the goal from Ferran Torres. Hits Tchouaméni, not even like on the shoulder, but just like slap bang in the middle of his arm. Took ages for the VAR to send the referee over. And then when he did, the referee sat there and he looked at it and said it wasn't a penalty. It boggles my mind to think that wouldn't have been a penalty and a red card because he already had a yellow, Tchouaméni. And then, to rub salt in the wound, the Fermin Lopez handball, a brilliant goal from Fermin Lopez, was ruled out for handball, which was clearly not an intentional handball, and was the ball rebounding off, I can't remember the exact order of it, but off one of either his foot or the Madrid defender's foot onto his arm. And then to rule that goal out for that, having just looked at a far more obvious handball and said it's not a handball, is a joke to me. Those decisions, like the rest, pale in comparison to what we saw at the end there.
Yeah, some of the other decisions they talked about was the Inigo high foot, which they all said was a fair yellow card. The other one is the Mbappe potential offside before the penalty. Mbappe's in an offside position when the ball is played, but it's played to Vinicius. I'm a little bit confused by it, but I think the rules are correctly applied. I think because Kubasi has the bad touch, then he scrambles to play it again, and then Mbappe's running in. I mean, you can argue the rule, but I think the rule is that the play is reactivated and Mbappe's therefore not offside because he wasn't interfering with the first one, but it's slightly confusing because it's changed and stuff after the, ironically, Mbappe, Eric Garcia thing during the Nations League a few years ago. I think that one was probably correct. Tony, what did you make of some of those decisions, the handballs, and also you put about it's come out the VAR audio where they say menos mal, which some Barca people are upset about or angry about. I do believe in the integrity of the referees. It's another issue whether they're concerned or worried about the Madrid thing and they're overthinking things or doing things perhaps because I do think there is a level of integrity there. But the menos mal thing for me was just a bit like perhaps influenced because of that Madrid thing. Like, at least we've caught it. At least we've seen this handball. And because if we'd let the goal stand without, I don't think it was like, thank God we've caught it. Now we can cancel the goal.
No, I think the same. Sometimes in Twitter, you have to create a little bit of circus. I'm not a big fan, but sometimes, yes.
You love the circus, Tony. You love the circus.
Well, I love the circus much more in the past. Just check my timeline in the last 5 years, and you will perfectly reach the conclusion that the circus just a little bit, every year a little less. But now, for sure that this comment, even when I saw yesterday night, I never thought that the most likely option was that they were happy that they could disallow the goal. Yes, it's more related with, luckily we found it, otherwise Madrid would be killing us in the night. But even if this, for me, it's very important, because even if the official reason is that they were happy and relaxed because they found on the last replay the action, for me this also shows how pressed they are working. It's something also. It's like, whoa, my God, luckily we found it, otherwise we would have been killed. So do you think that's the healthy way of working, knowing that if it happens a mistake, you will want to kill your life? I don't imagine you in your computer, if you type some word wrong, saying, oh, thanks God I saw that mistake, otherwise my director would have killed me. No, it's a mistake, okay. It proves how pressed, how tense is the situation regarding the referees, and indirectly, for me, it proves that Madrid has reached what they wanted, is to create this towards the referees. But for sure, I don't think they were. I mean, I totally agree with Sam with what he says.
Yeah, that is the environment that exists at the moment, the climate around refereeing for sure. And I certainly felt in the Copa del Rey. It's funny, Tony, it comes back to a little bit to what you said. Flick's kind of made a big mistake here. If you look at the Copa del Rey final and the Clasico yesterday, those are games when you can understand Barca coming out and saying, look at the referee and look at every 50-50, even more than 50-50s perhaps in Barca's favour has gone against them, despite what I said about Chiringuito. And yet the only game that Flick's mentioned it was after the Inter game when they've lost. Yesterday was another day for him, if he wants to speak about referees, to say it after the game. And he didn't, again, to come back to what you said repeatedly over the last couple of weeks, especially since the Inter game.
See, I think it was a great chance yesterday to talk about the referees, because at the end it's true that he only talked about the referees after Inter Milan. For me, it was yesterday to create a big explosion. For me, Hansi Flick should have come into the press conference and creating a big trouble. Being polite, but a big trouble. Because it's when you win, when you have to say these things.
Yeah. No, I don't. In theory, like you say, it's a nice stance saying we don't talk about referees. But having now done it after games when they've lost or drawn. I think there was one time in La Liga. Was it Getafe when he complained a little bit, or
Getafe,
or another game? And then after Inter, that was a good chance to do it after a win. But when it just comes out, it's more like sour grapes, isn't it? But let's move on from the refereeing. Let's see. This is a day when if you get Mundo Deportivo or Diario Sport, all the players get 10s out of 10. They don't even bother with the ratings. They're just like, I've definitely seen it in sport before. So let's see what Rick's got.
I made the ratings in sport.
You made the ratings?
I made the ratings in sport, and the average of the starting lineup was 7.1 out 10. Only one player had more than an 8. And 4 players had a 6 out of 10.
Okay, let's see. Compare and contrast with Rick Sharma.
Let's see with.
But it is true. It is true what Sam says. I've seen it in sport before. When it's when they win the league. Maybe on Thursday, if they beat Espanyol, every player will get 10 out of 10.
Let's
I've
see.
seen them do it. Yeah. Okay, the ratings. Tech 5 out of 10. This game, similar to the Inter game in that there were lots of goals, weren't really his fault apart from the penalty, which was... It's not entirely his fault, because it's Kubasi also making a mistake. But I don't understand what's wrong with Tech. Why does he keep ploughing into people and taking them out for penalties? It's happened like so many times.
It's easy to find out, Rick. He smokes, he drinks, so he's also a gambler, and he tells friends to bet that he will make penalties. He needs to get money. He's not getting paid in Barca. He needs extra salary. Now, I'm joking, I'm kidding, but it's true that it's starting to become his DNA, this kind of penalties, because he's always late with this kind of tempos.
Yeah, and actually, I think there's worse than giving away a penalty. There's a genuine risk he could get a red card because it's not even close to getting the ball. Like, I know you're not supposed to get sent off double jeopardy if you make a fair attempt to get the ball, but it's all on the borderline of the referee being like, well, you weren't even close to the ball, mate, you're off.
Yeah.
Which would really put Barca in a tough spot in this game. Eric Garcia, 7 out of 10. Nice goal. Him and Gerard Martin have just been, in an attacking sense, come out of nowhere in the last few games to deliver for Barca. Pau Kubasi, I'll give him 5 as well because of his culpability in the penalty. He was it was just a sloppy bit of control by him on the edge of his own box, loss of attention. Inigo Martinez, 6.5 out of 10. Gerard Martin, 6 out of 10. Frankie de Jong, 7.5 out of 10. Thought he was good. Pedri, 7.5 out of 10.
Happy birthday, Frankie de Jong.
Also good. How old is he? 26?
28.
28? Wow. I'm glad he's had this sort of revival in this year because actually his career is passing by quite quickly. 28. I felt like he was young when he came to Barca and really done nothing at all until this season.
Yeah, why? Because life happens, runs. Time flies by while you plan to learn Catalan next year. The time flies by. Frankie's already 28. When Sam is able to speak Catalan, Frankie will be already retired in MLS.
Que va, ja parlo català. I encara Frankie està jugant.
Yeah, but Rick, Rick not even this, eh?
Yeah, it's true. I can understand Catalan reasonably well, but in terms of speaking, I've probably told the story on the pod before. I'm not going to get into it now because it's in the middle of the ratings. But I did try to learn once, and they kicked me off the course. But yeah, maybe on the Q&A if people want to ask about that.
That's your main reason, not to leave it.
Well, I became demotivated after that.
Yeah.
I bought the textbook and I didn't even get it, so I paid them for the textbook and I haven't even got it. Anyway, Pedri. Good, 7.5 I said as well. Lamine Yamal, 8 out of 10. Great goal, great individual goal, and another very good performance. Dani Olmo, 6 out of 10 was okay. Wasn't involved in any of the goals and was taken off. Rafinha, 7.5 out of 10. I know he scored 2 goals, but again, didn't really appear in the game that much outside the goals and missing some chances. I mean, he even said after the game himself, why have you given me the man of the match? He said there's lots of other players who should have it ahead of me. Said Rafinha. Ferran Torres, 8.5 out of 10. Hat-trick of assists for Ferran Torres. Very, very good. And he could have scored at the end, but obviously Tchouaméni decided to shove the ball out with his arm. Off the bench, Balde, very good, 7.5. Changed the game a lot when he came on, and I think maybe Balde will be appreciated more by people after the last 3 weeks or 4 weeks when he hasn't been in the team, and you saw what he can give when he's in the team. Christensen, he can have a 7.5 out of 10 as well. Fermin, 7.5, and that's about it for me. Hansi Flick can have an 8 out of 10 today after his 4 against Inter.
How do they compare with yours, Tony?
Well, just to make the highlights, I gave a 9 to Eric. Rick gave him, I think he said 6.5. For me,
no, 7 at least, I said.
Okay,
it's got a goal. Maximum
7. For me, Eric was great, not suffering on his back, being clinical with the ball. In the second half, he made a brilliant pass to Lamine, who was almost a goal, but Rafinha then missed the chance. He scored the goal. He was with character. So if you don't rate Eric with this performance a 9 in the Clasico, you will never do. I totally agree with Frankie and Pedri, around 7, quite decent but not really great. And I also gave an 8 to Gerard Martin because I think he was really well, to be honest. I'm not a big fan of Gerard Martin, but he was playing with confidence. So also he has been improving a lot. And yes, more or less the same in the three players of the attack. I gave an 8 to all three. So yeah, this time more or less Rik had the correct glasses to watch the game.
Talking about Eric, and this comes back to Tony, what you said before about Barca's mentality and what Flick will leave behind. And I thought this even before the game. Playing Eric at right back is almost the perfect sort of imagery for that. If we go back to Clásicos 2-3 years ago, how much before the game was the narrative? How do we stop Vinicius? How do we stop Madrid? We have to play Araujo. It would have been unthinkable for Barca to go, let's not play Araujo and let's play Eric. We need to defend first. And it's completely changed. The mentality has completely changed. The style has completely changed to the fact that now Araujo is an unused sub. Doesn't even come on. I think I'm correct in saying that. Christensen came on ahead of him. Maybe because of his inter-performance. Maybe because he got booked on the bench in the first half and he would have been a risk. But it wasn't even a doubt that Eric would go at right back. And this is a Madrid team with Vinicius on the left and also the added threat of Mbappe coming across onto the left. And it's just like, the perfect sort of encapsulation of that mentality change and style shift. And the fact that, like Lamine says, we go into these games thinking we are the better team and to enjoy ourselves. Whereas I think 2 or 3 years ago, Barca were going into these games thinking, oh, Vinicius is pretty good, we can't stop him, what do we do? And that's completely flipped on its head. They're not even... Obviously, they're worrying, but the focus before the game isn't how do we stop Mbappe and Vinicius. It's let's go and score loads of goals.
Totally agree. And it's funny because at the end, when Hansi Flick arrived in Barcelona, not now that they are winning, because people can think that normally these things are like, how can I say this, like sugar things of the press to make it romantic. No. It's 100% true, and it's been written in different media. I also wrote about this, that in the first weeks with the team, Hansi Flick told to their players that what he saw regarding the last year with Xavi on their faces is that they were suffering and not enjoying in the pitch, and that it was impossible to achieve nothing if they were not enjoying playing, competing, and the day by day. And it was his first rule. He said in the preseason, we are not going to get nothing if you are not able, we all, us, to enjoy the day by day, to work relaxed. And at the end it's true, because Hansi Flick believes that someone needs to be happy on his day by day, needs to have fun, to give an extra. And it's exactly what you, Sam, have been saying these last 2 minutes. Hansi Flick wanted his team to enjoy the life, the football. Also, we explained, it has been explained that the mentality of Hansi Flick changed when his wife had an important illness some years ago. He won against this illness and luckily, but it changed the mentality of Hansi Flick, and then he was convinced that you don't have to live with drama in your life. And this is what Hansi Flick has brought to this team. No drama, just enjoy. It's a game, play, be brave, attack. And now the team is exactly this. So yes, also not being worried about defending, suffering, Vinicius. No, just let's be ourselves, attack, relax, smile. Lamine, Rafinha, dancing. This is the biggest achievement of this new Barca.
Lovely place to end the Monday pod as Barcelona move close to the La Liga title. We'll be back later this week when Barca perhaps are officially La Liga champions. As I said earlier, it could happen on Wednesday if Madrid drop points. If not, I think ideally, as players, as a club, as a fan, as teams, you always want to win it on the pitch, and especially when it's away against Espanyol. So that might be the nicer finale for Barca to win it at Espanyol.
Totally disagree.
You'd rather, because you hate Madrid.
Yes, but what is the best option?
I actually disagree, to win it as soon as possible.
For me, the best option is for Barca to have a draw against Espanyol and Madrid to win. Then
and win at home.
Yes, you prepare with all your days in Montjuic, summer, sun shining, with Sam going with Luna in the preview of the game in Montjuic, everybody with the flag, 23 degrees, all ready. You only need a point against Villarreal, everybody bringing friends, family. The game not in a day which people needs to work on the following day. perfect Sunday, all ready with the music, with the party in the Montjuic, top would be top.
You don't disagree with my point then? My point was that it's better to win it on the pitch than to
on
win
the
it
pitch,
by...
but not between in the week. This is like going into a good restaurant Monday night. It's like not useful to enjoy this. You have to go in a Saturday.
I was actually thinking that earlier because the Espanyol game kicks off at 9:30 as well.
Yeah, it's shit. Yeah. No one will be even awake at 11, 12 in the night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, I don't...
Also, if Barca win it at Espanyol again, they'll be worried about being invaded by the Espanyol fans, like what happened last time when there was a pitch invasion.
Yeah, also this.
Anyway, we'll be back after that Espanyol game, whether Barca are champions or not, but we'll also be back before then. We've got a Q&A going out before that Espanyol game. You've got today still to get any questions in, either on Discord or on the post below this podcast on Patreon. And we will take those questions on Tuesday or Wednesday. And yeah, enjoy the week. Stay positive.